going to start Keep Holding On by Susane Colasanti. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I have no idea what this book's about. I remember it was in like the school library, and it had a sticker on it that said mature. I don't really know what that means. I'm assuming it means like more like heavier subject matter, but to talk about in this video is 100 Days of Sunlight by Abbie Emmons. So this book, well, there's two main characters, but the synopsis makes more sense if we focus on one. So this book is about a girl named Tessa, and she was in a bad car crash where she ended up going blind, but it's supposed to be a temporary blindness where it's only supposed to last like 12 to 14 weeks, which one of those options for how long it's going to last being 100 days being in the title. And so she's kind of really sad and down about like this whole thing that happened and not being able to see, and she's also a poet, and she lives with her grandparents, and they really want her get back into writing, so they put this ad in the newspaper to find a typist, basically, for Tessa to keep writing her poetry. But she doesn't like this idea, so they call the newspaper to pull the ad, and it is pulled before it's ever put out. But this is way too specific for a synopsis. But I guess that's just how things are with me. But the son of the editor for the newspaper, Weston, hears about this ad before it's pulled, and he decides to go ask if he can take on this job. So he does. He goes over to their house, and he tries to do things, but Tessa's very mad at him. She doesn't want him to help her, but then over time they end up kind of bonding, and it turns out that he does understand what she's going through more than she knows. I don't know if it's a spoiler or not to say what that is. So before we get into talking about the actual book, we're gonna start with an introduction about the author of this book, Abbie Emmons. If you have ever been an aspiring writer looking on YouTube for writing advice, you have probably seen at least one of Abbie's videos. She's probably most known for her Writers Like Wednesdays videos, talking about like different writing advice. Different writing advice. She's really big on internal conflict and like all this stuff. So, seeing that she gives advice, how well did her book actually turn out? I mean, it's good, but it's not a masterpiece, but I don't think that was the intention. So I think the main problem that I have is that I wasn't consistently drawn in. Like a lot of people say that they were like in it from like the first page. For some reason I wasn't one of those people. I don't really know why. But there are parts where I was drawn in, but then I wasn't drawn in and all this stuff. I think the one thing that I know, the kinds of sections that I know were not drawn in, is that I did not care enough about Weston's backstory for the amount of time that is spent on that. mentioned in other reviews. So I think the first review I ever saw of this book, someone talked about they were enjoying themselves at first, but they were really bothered by Tessa's treatment of Weston at first. And I will say, her kind of mistreating him did go on for longer than I expect. But I don't know if that's a flaw or understandable. Like, I don't know. I mean, I was bothered by it too, but not enough for it to be. But I don't know if it would have been better if it didn't go on for as long. Because then I feel like people would be saying, oh, she got over it too quickly. Or something. And then, the Christian thing. So I started reading this book, and then there's kind of mentions about, like, her grandparents going to church and her grandpa being a pastor and stuff, and that. It's kind of like, okay, where are you gonna go with this? It's now, unfortunately, I've gotten to the point where every time Christianity is brought up in secular media, I'm like, okay, are you just trying to bash us? But thankfully, that ended up not being the case. It ended up, like, not bashing Christianity, which I appreciated. But someone in Goodreads did not feel the same way. They said that they were very bothered by the religious undertones, as they said. And they said, oh, this should have been in the blurb. This like, I'm just kind of like, I feel like if you're that bothered by people just mentioning Christianity, like even like Abbie Emmons, I'm pretty sure she's not even a Christian. Like, based on the things I've heard that she's, well, one thing that she said and things that her sister has said, I'm pretty sure she's like a New Ager or something. So, like, she's not even a Christian, but simply mentioning it and it being part of this family is like enough to bother this person. Like, maybe that's a problem that we need to work on. But I guess also it kind of makes sense, because I realized that in order to be consistent, secular people are going to have beefs with Christianity, because otherwise they would be Christian. So, another thing that I think actually one of the people I follow on Goodreads mentioned this in their review of the kind of the swearing, that they were really bothered by it, that they knew it was going to be there, but they were kind of bothered by the amount of times it was used. Now, I didn't know about this prior to it, and I didn't mention this when I talked about Sunlight Girl, but in Sunlight Girl, there is a lot of swearing in that. I mean, especially compared to that, this wasn't as bad. Like, you think, I will talk about it briefly, just to warn, there is somewhat frequent use of the S word, and there also mentions of like the A word, which some people consider to not even be a swear for some reason. I don't remember there being any mention of the F-bomb, so yeah. So overall, I was thinking at first of giving this like 3.8 stars just because of the inconsistency of when I was drawn in, but I'm feeling generous, I'll round it to 4. So, that's all for today's video.